Ambareesh Baliga as well from Edelweiss joins into the discussion. Hi Ambareesh, afternoon. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for joining us. What's the call now on the Nifty? Where do you see it heading?
Like I was saying last Thursday, that the upside I see for the markets is around 50 or 50. It is close to that. So possibly we could see, a bit more of a run up, maybe either 50, 60 points more from here. But beyond that, to sustain, I think it will be quite difficult. And I would still reiterate my earlier advice that utilize this move up to lighten up as much as possible, because over the next at least 2 or 3 months, or maybe a slightly longer, we could have more of pain, and you'll surely get an opportunity to buy stocks at lower levels. So best is to be on some bit of cash right now.
Ambareesh, hi, afternoon. It might be a choppy month coming second half of September or mid-September with the FOMC policy and maybe the RBI policy as well. At that point or up to that point, what would your approach on the Nifty be?
I think at least till the RBI policy, possibly you could see some upside, but then that upside may not really be from the current levels immediately. We've been saying that the markets are volatile. So possibly we could see a dip before that move up, before the RBI policy, because surely there would be expectations from the new governor, and based on those expectations you could see some run up. But I suppose that run up would be more from that 5,350, 5,400 levels to again back to 5,550, 5,600 levels.
Mr. Tulsian, Kotak Mahindra Bank is down 5%. In a very good market, that stock is weakened quite a bit. What's happening?
See, Rima, in fact, the stock has been showing the weakness. If you recall, maybe a couple of days back, when the series has started, the future was ruling at quite a big discount. So that probably was indicated that, maybe the stock, honestly, it's difficult to attribute the reason, because if you really see HDFC Bank and Kotak, both are not participating in today's rally, Maybe the kind of run-up which we have seen in the other banking stocks like Axis, Yes and IndusInd Bank. So yes, you have, but I honestly no specific reason known for this weakness.
Okay, holding for the market. So let's get in a quick F&O check. Nigel joins us to tell us what we should be watching out for. Nigel.
Hi, Ekta. Yeah, the Nifty has seen quite a bit of a rally. So nearly around 440 points off that 20th August lows. Importantly, the Bank Nifty as well is outperforming the Nifty, not in today's session, but over the past 3-4 days, because that one's up nearly around 10% in the past 3.5 trading sessions. Now, importantly, we are seeing that the Nifty is up nearly around 80 points odd. But look at the VIX. The VIX has moved nowhere. The action is on the put side, because the PCR has moved all the way from around 0.9 and it's heading towards that 1.3 odd mark. Now we are seeing a constant addition at that 5,500 put as well as that 5,300 put. The VIX, as I said, hasn't moved anywhere, and the IVs on the put side are always higher. So watch out, because that 4,700 put now has opened up, while on the upside we are seeing 5,700 call. See a fair bit of addition. Importantly, in the near term, we were looking at the 5,500 as the near term barrier, but that has been crossed. So now watch out for that 5,700 mark, because in case we do get up and going, then that will be the next resistance level after running already 430 points odd. Now the couple of big names that are really running today is ITC. Now that stock is up nearly around 4% plus, and that holds 10% weightage. The other heavyweight is Reliance Industries, that is up more than 3.5%. So both these really are driving the market higher. Tata Steel as well has come to the party. That stock has been getting supplied around 290 odd. So watch out for the stock, because it has ran up all the way from around 195 to the 290 odd mark. The Bank Nifty is on fire today. So it's up more than 1% over the past 4 trading sessions, up more than 10% odd. And few of those banks like IndusInd Bank as well as Axis Bank are doing well. But that other bank that you all were just discussing, Kotak Mahindra Bank, is under some pressure. But remember, we did see it trade at a big discount, but that's getting narrower. So watch out for that stock. It was still trading in the red, down nearly around 4.5% odd. But as I did say earlier, that discount on that particular counter is getting narrower. Back to you all.
All right, Nigel, thanks so much for joining us. For the second time in the day, the Nifty is finding a bit of resistance above that 55.50 level. It's dragged down by names like a Kotak Mahindra Bank as well as Tata Motors. As we slip into a short break, here is an excerpt of a very special conversation with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who remains optimistic on India and says that markets may see a turnaround post-elections.
I still retain the full confidence in India. I still think that India will grow double digit. It may take 2, it may take 3, it's not going to take 5 years. But I feel that this country is gone into a process of consolidation and correction. And I like the way the other organs of democracy have responded to all the misgovernance. That gives me greater confidence in this country. So although I surely worry that markets could fall in the short term, I don't worry. I think, so be it. How is it going to affect me? Maybe the value of my portfolio may come down by some amount. That doesn't really affect me because I don't mark my portfolio to market every day. The real turnaround will come only with the new government. But the confidence, if the markets and the people feel that they will get a government which will be good for the markets and for the economics of the country, it could, because see, then it's a very big matter is about confidence. The moment confidence returns, everything will return. We don't have inspiring leadership. Mr. Chidambaram is trying what he can, right? But he's also placed in a corner. And I think any new government will not have the bogey of the past. I will not buy PSU banks and hold them for 3 to 5 years, right? Because there is no real earnings growth there. I think in the other new private sector banks, although I made a mistake by not buying Axis Bank at around 50 rupees, I don't think the valuations are so attractive that I should run and buy.
Welcome back. Still going strong for the markets. 55.50 in the Nifty, up 1.5%. Sensex is gained closer to 300 points. It's just the performance of Kotak Mahindra Bank which is a bit worrying. So slipped a little further on that and it's now down 5% at the low point on that. So keep your eye out on Kotak Mahindra Bank. Other than that, there are a few stops like a Lupin, a Maruti Suzuki. These stocks have gotten into the upswing now, particularly something like a Maruti, which one is at the high point of the day. But time now to focus on the oil and gas space. Oil Minister Veerappa Moily says no proposal of a petrol pump shutdown has been sent.
I don't know from where these proposals have come. There maybe people must be coining out ideas. That doesn't mean we have initiated the proposal. When we have not conceived any such proposal. There is no question of my sending the proposal to FM or PM. Then there is consequently there is no question of their rejecting it. Because I have not mooted this proposal at all. Every 1 rupee depreciation to a dollar, I lose about 8,000 crores. That means from 58 rupees to 68, which when I financed, I lost 80,000 crores. That's a matter of concern. The very fact that despite all these problems, I am in a position to ensure that oil companies do function, all bunks function. There is no scarcity of oil and and petroleum products. Our refineries are running well and our bunks are running well and we are in a position to, that is how we manage things despite that. But at the same time, we also require the people of the country to realize that the 80% of the oil product we import and about $180 billion you remember that we are paying out and this is a problem. We are going to see that the reduction of the import will be to the tune of 19 to 20 crores. I have already worked out the matters and of course I would like to go up to $25 billion. If we are in a position to reduce $25 billion worth petroleum products import, I will be contributing 1% to the GDP.
Alright, that's the Oil Minister Veerappa Moily talking about how he has not sent a proposal to the Prime Minister or the Finance Minister on high crude prices. But for today, most of the OMCs are quiet. But do watch out for something like Reliance, which is currently up around 3% odd. Shardul, let me pose that question to you. Reliance on the charts, how does it look?
See, Reliance over the last couple of trading sessions has done exceptionally well. From 765 right up to 870. The stock has moved up in just 4 trading sessions. I would expect some bit of a correction in case of the stock or probably a sideways consolidation. But overall what we see is that if someone has a time frame of say around 10 to 15 trading sessions, I would not be surprised to see the stock at 925 to 930 rupees. So yes, we are bullish on the stock, just that wait for declines. The declines will come over the next couple of trading days. We feel that stock can move towards 925, 930 levels.
Ambareesh, if the markets start moving, downwards from here on, the last time around it stopped at 5100. Is that the bottom for the markets in the near term, or we could head lower, perhaps to even 4800 or lower?
I think the first stop is in that like range of about 5100 to 5200. I don't think it should fall below that unless, of course, you have one more shocker, maybe from the currency or some other shocker coming in. I mean, unless that happens, I think we should stop in that region of 51 to 5200 levels. But in case we break that, then yes, I suppose the next level which opens up is closer to about 47.
Okay. Mr. Tulsian had another question on M&M Financials for you, because that stock seems to have completely been very resilient from the financial space. It's up 22% on a YTD basis. Would you have a recommendation, or would you see further upside on M&M Financial?
See, Ekta, in fact, this stock has been, is having lot of strength, and whenever it corrects to a level of 215, 220, we see the bounce back, again quickly coming back into the stock. But probably now at 280, I don't think that there is much upside left, because as I said that whenever you see the bounce back or the recovery coming in, you also see the profit booking also coming in, and I won't be surprised to see a level of 240, 245 also, which can be expected in next 10 to 15 days once we see the profit booking coming in. So yes, look for the alternative NBFCs, which are available, like maybe the Bajaj Finance or maybe like the Shriram Transport Finance, and one can give a pass to the to Mahindra and Mahindra Financial at this stage.
Shardul, anything in the charts of any of these sugar companies? Technically, which one has the best chart, and any trading recommendation?
See, in case of sugar, the stocks have moved up nearly 20% in a single trading session. They will, it's the first move after a very strong downtrend. If you see on the monthly chart, it is just a very small move. But if you see, for example, stocks like Renuka, the stock was at 100 rupees about 3 years back. Now it has gone to 15, and from there it has moved higher. I think that going forward, yes, possibility of upside is there. Just looking at what has happened in today's trading session, as well as the volume-based activity which we are seeing. Yes, possibility is that stock can move towards 19.520, but at this point of time, to comment on the stock whether it will go beyond 35.40 is very difficult. The first target that I would look at is around 20 rupees in case of Renuka Sugar. Similarly, I would say that in case of Balrampur Chini also we are seeing the same thing, that stock is up about 15%. The stock has resistance around 43.4, 44, and I think that that resistance level can act as a decent resistance, at least in the near term. A disclosure that I own the stocks of Renuka Sugar.
Okay, let's get you a couple of last hour trading calls then. Mr. Tulsian, let's start with you. What would you be recommending in the last 40 minutes of trade?
I am giving two buy call. First on RCom, because we have seen the buying coming in, in this last 1 hour in the stock, and generally, whenever the momentum starts building up on the upside, you see that buying continuing. So go for the long on RCom with a day target of 133 with stop loss of 128. And second stock which I am going long is again a long call on the India Bull Real Estate with a target of 60 rupees 50 paise, stop loss of 58.
And Shardul, what would you be recommending?
I think that the charts of the 15-minute charts basically of MRF are quite good. So I would say that you can buy MRF with a stop loss of 13,200 for a target of 13,700 over the next say 40-45 minutes. And the second one would be a buy in case of Bank of Baroda, wherein we feel that yes, there is a possibility of an up move. I would say 462 is a decent stop loss. I would expect 490, 495 as a potential target.
Ambareesh, what was your take on the macros, especially the GDP data, and that was in line with the HSBC PMI manufacturing data also, which came in at a 4.5-year low. At some point, do you expect it to start affecting the market sentiment, or do you think that the market has factored the worst in?
No, I don't think market has still factored the worst in, because we are not seeing a turnaround from here, because the macro data even going ahead, if you're talking of the next quarter or two, could even be worse than what we have already seen. So I think that would be one of the triggers for the markets to settle at lower levels.
All right, stay on. Need to slip into a very short break. Still very stable around that 55.50 level. We'll be back with more market chat.
Welcome back. We are in the home stretch for the markets, the last half hour, and it's been a fourth day of a fairly decent run that the markets have seen. The big positive for the markets, of course, is that they don't have to contend with US markets today, and that itself should be keeping the markets up and about at this juncture. Anuj Singhal is also with me. Anuj, it is looking like fun and games.
Could be, but the markets climb a wall of worry, so that could also be the factor. But I was discussing HDFC Bank, and I was when the series started, I was discussing Kotak Mahindra Bank also, Lata, with you. If you see, Kotak Mahindra Bank has now turned year-to-date negative. Kotak was the strongest private sector banking stock, even stronger than HDFC Bank. You'll remember when the series started, the discount was 40 points on Kotak Mahindra Bank, and that's because some of the strong shorts still had the conviction to roll over their short positions, even though we had a very strong expiry for the market. So, if you see the last 10 or 15 minutes of trade, the way Kotak has fallen, the way HDFC Bank has underperformed today, I think that should, give bulls a bit of a nervous night. But things are looking good. Tomorrow onwards, maybe the things continue to look good. But just because the kind of fall that we had, it just looks like the last leg of a bear market rally which is going on. If you look at individual stocks, frankly.
Yes, actually, Ambareesh has been speaking about that. So let's get him straight away into the conversation. Ambareesh, there could be a little bit of legs for this rally. Do you think? Considering that US economic data came in weak, and also considering that there could be some hopes pinned on this OMCs, on the new governor, you think they could pull it on till Friday?
Pulling on till Friday, I don't know. But at the same time, I don't think that the upside for the market is, very much higher than where we are right now. Looking at the momentum, like I said, possibly either 50-60 points move from here. It can move. It can hold on for the next 1 or 2 days. Possibly it can just, crack a bit and then again, bounce back, towards Thursday, Friday. But then again, the question is if, one has a portfolio, what one does at this point of time. And for which I've been saying that it's best to get into cash to a certain extent, because we'll get a lot of opportunities going ahead over the next at least the next 2 or 3 months. And if you're talking of the new RBI governor, I think when he comes in, possibly there would be expectations from him, because of which we could see some sort of a rally. So that's on September 5th. So based on that, we could have a small rally.
All right, before we get our movers and shakers in, I just want to address this talk to Mr. Tulsian. Mr. Tulsian, how would you approach Ranbaxy now after the kind of run that we have seen? This month itself, it's up 52%.
Anuj, I've been maintaining my view that I don't see much of the fundamental reason for the stocks to run up so much. More especially, if you recall when the results came in, it was ruling at 280. And now, as you have rightly said that, in 1 month, we see the stock moving up by 150, maybe more than, or works out to about 55%. So technical factors are really involved. In fact, day before we had some, issues on the good manufacturing practices also, for which the time has been given 1 month, to the company to clarify for all its manufacturing facility by the Indian authorities. But still taking this into account, when you have a comparative place available, when you look for Glenmark, when you look for Aurobindo Pharma, when you look for Lupin, probably you find it little, overstretched. Maybe the current rate doesn't justify. But yes, the technical factors, have been giving this volatility. I won't be surprised to see the price correcting to 380, 390, but equally bouncing back, to the level of 430 as well, 420 as well in the series itself. So remain prepared for two-way volatility in the series itself. Maybe you will get 2 rounds to see it in that way.
All right, our research team is joining with the movers and shakers in trade today. Since Varinder, if you're with us, you go first. We'll come to Pragya, Ushang and Nigel in a bit. Varinder?
Well, Lata, the debt sector, sugar has just bounced back today. Now, the important thing which has been going in the market since morning was that the comment coming in from the ministry that they are looking at ethanol blending and a saving of nearly $300 million. The stock just bounced in the trade today. But the reality on the ground is really, really different. It's important to understand that the ethanol blending is already taking place in the market right now. Government has allowed 5% blending, ethanol blending in the petrol. Remember, in Jan 2013 the tender was issued, which was finalized in June 2013. Out of that 5%, it is only 1.5% what the industry has been able to provide. More specific, it was 54 crore liters which was asked by the ministry, but the industry was only able to give away 25 crore liter. So they have not even met that 5% limit of ethanol blending which is at present. Forget about that 10%, which is a big task. Of course, important is to understand that it's not only the percentage of ethanol blending, but the prices also. Most of these sugar companies, they attract higher prices if they give ethanol to liquor companies rather than giving to the oil and marketing companies. So the bounce back, of course, may have come out on a technical trigger or the positive whiff coming from the ministry side, but surely, the implementation on the ground remains a real difficult task for most of these companies. In terms of quantum of ethanol, we know that Bajaj Hindustan is the biggest ethanol producer in India, which is followed by Renuka and Balrampur Chini. But of course, as I said, a dead stock has been bouncing back on back of either technical or a whiff of positive news, but very difficult to implement on the ground. Pragya.
Well, thanks so much for that, Varinder. The stock that I've picked today is Mahindra & Mahindra Financial Services. Now, the last time I checked, stock was up about 8%, has been very, very strong. If you just consider on a YTD basis, the stock is up about 25-odd%. We've seen a lot of volatility, but importantly, for the last 1 month or so, it's been up about 17-odd%. Now, of course, the news is that the company has been included in the MSCI Emerging Markets and India Index effective the closing of Friday trade. So today's the first day that we're seeing the stock react to any sort of that news. The first time this news came, the stock was up about 5-odd%, and today the rally is extending because of that. Also, the stock has been under a lot of focus. There are a lot of investor conferences which are going on right now, and the management has been very interactive in interactions with all of these. What they have said is that the July overall portfolio is now starting to look up. Remember, up until now, for Q1, if I remember, the disbursement growth was up about 32-odd%, but that had actually declined, and the management has indicated could come in around 15-odd%, with some uptake starting to be seen for the July portfolio. Also, another important thing they've highlighted is Mahindra Rural Finance, Rural Housing, which is one of the subsidiaries of the company. There, the company is expecting for things to significantly improve in terms of asset quality and disbursement growth going forward in Q4 of FY14 because of extremely good monsoons that we've seen. And just to put things into perspective, Mahindra Rural a majority of their loans actually go to some of these small ticket farmers in areas which are extremely agri-rich. So that portfolio and that loan book of the company is expected to look good. So after a little bit of a disappointment we saw in Q1 numbers, things starting to look good in the second half of the company. Stock is up today. That's it from me. Nigel, over to you.
Thanks for that, Pragya. The stock that I'll be talking about is Yes Bank. Now, we have got those disclosures on both the exchanges that in fact LIC has chipped into SBI as well as Yes Bank. Remember, as of the June 30th disclosure, LIC's stake in Yes Bank was having around that 4.7-odd%. Now, this has been upped because as per the last disclosure, this particular share has gone up all the way to around 7.4%. So that's a big jump in holdings. Remember, Yes Bank on the 28th of August itself, it did bounce from that 216-odd level. So taken from that low in the last 3.5 days, this stock has run close to around 18-19% odd. Remember, the same stock was sitting at its 52-week high in the month of May at around 550 odd. So clearly, LIC seems to have given the stock a bit of legs in today's session, given that the stock was up around 4.5% the last time I checked. That's it from me. Ushang, over to you.
Well, thanks for that. I've picked up Atul Auto. The stock has gained around 11% odd in trade today, trading somewhere around 166 levels. Earlier, the company came out with its sales numbers and has sold around 3,200 units versus around 2,322 units for August. Additionally, if you look at the Q1 performance, almost sales saw a jump of almost 11 to 12% odd. And also keeping in mind the revenue of the company that saw a surge of around 11.5% and came in at 85.5 crore on a year-on-year basis. As such, the stock has tanked quite considerably during the Q4, but as of now, the stock is gaining much, and there are many of the small brokerages which have also maintained a target of around 180, 185 levels going ahead in annual terms as such. On that note, it's back to you.
All right. Thank you all four of you for joining us. Tahir Bacha of Motilal Oswal AMC is also with us. Tahir, you must have met with a lot of guys in your conference. Are you getting a sense at all that anybody over there is smelling something positive from the rural consumption theme?
Well, surely. I mean, it's been just half a day since we started interacting with some of the companies, and clearly there have been certain representations by some of the companies which have be it from either non-banking financial companies as well as some of the auto firms, which seem to suggest that there are certain interesting trends which are developing on the rural side, and expectedly so, given the kind of growth that agriculture has seen in the last quarter, as well as what it is probably likely to see in the next couple of quarters on the back of a fairly good monsoon season that we've all been happy to have. So I think yeah, clearly people are building up in anticipation of a slightly better, festive season going forward, and there seems to be some cheer amongst companies which have larger exposure to the rural markets.
Tahir, hi, afternoon. How have you seen the recent rally in the metal names? I mean, from portfolio point of view, do you think time has come to include some of these stocks in your portfolio?
Well, I mean, we actually don't have a position in any meaningful position in the metal side, and of course these stocks have rallied, but I mean the rally has essentially been back to some degree on the back of the recovery that we are seeing in US, of course, on a continuing basis, as well as some incipient recovery even in Europe and a few other areas. China's numbers have been pretty reasonable despite the concerns around their overall growth trajectory. So I think it's been guided by that, and obviously many of these stocks have been significantly beaten down too. There are these local expectations that prices of certain products will probably be raised given the fact that given the way the USD INR has moved, and to that extent there needs to be some adjustment on the local prices. So I think the combination of all that has probably led to a fairly decent rally in some of the metal stocks in the recent past.
Okay, actually, Shardul, to continue the earlier conversation we had on the Nifty as well as on Kotak and M&M, the stocks that people spoke about, draw the charts for all these three for us.
See, in case of Nifty, we are seeing sheer momentum. What we see is that in the last 4 trading sessions, we saw that the news flow was not good. Rupee touched an all-time low. The GDP figure was lowest in 4 years, and still the Nifty has rallied. So yes, there is significant disbelief in the market that how can that happen? You're already up 440 points from the lows. But I think that because of this disbelief, the market can move higher, even higher from current levels. If I just see from the chart perspective, I see that there is a strong trendline breakout in case of today's trading session. Momentum oscillators on the weekly as well as the daily chart point significant upside from current levels. So I would not be surprised to see the market move higher from current levels, 5640 and then 5720. These are the targets that I would work with. I would say that yes, after 440 points, can there be a cool off of around 70-80 points or 100 points? Yes, possible, but I would look at that as a buying opportunity. In case of Kotak Mahindra Bank, what has happened is that we are seeing that the stock has clearly underperformed the market. Private sector banks have not worked, and Kotak being one of them. Despite a very strong pullback, we are still seeing that when the market is up 70 points, the stock is down. I think that this is one stock that I would avoid, even from a perspective of going long. I think that further pain probably may be on the cards in case of Kotak Mahindra Bank, but there are obviously better opportunities in the market. Mahindra and Mahindra Finance, the stock which is up 6.5% in today's trading session, on all time frames, daily, weekly, monthly, I think it's a brilliant chart. I would expect the stock to move higher from current levels. Again, already the stock has seen a significant rally from 220 to 280. So there is a possibility of a cool off, but I think that on declines, the strategy should be buying to the stock. It's a buy on decline stock for me from a trading perspective at least.
Mr. Hussain, after a long time, Reliance is outperforming the market on a sustainable basis. Even this year, it's up about 6%. So while the market is down, is this for real? This move that we've seen on Reliance now?
See, Anuj, in fact, this sanction of their capex, has given a little boost to the share. But if you really see the chart or maybe the behavior, 920 I think was the resistance in the last in the month of July, because August was very weak or bad for everyone. In the month of July it was 920, so I think that it may find it difficult to maybe move beyond 920, because if you really factor in the valuations, or maybe the positives because of this capex plan and maybe the ramp up of the production, but that is getting neutralized because of again the negative news is coming in that government will be probably compelling the company to supply the deficit at the fixed price of 4.2 MBTU to the company and all sort of things. So yes, I'll play maybe for a level of 905 to 910. Since you see the resistance at 920, probably take a knock of 1% and expect a level of about 910 where the rally should end.
Do you look at Power Grid closely, Mr. Tulsian? I mean, it has seen a bounce back after a fairly big fall. Is there anything positive in the stock now?
See, Lata, I've been, keeping the negative view on the stock for quite a long time. In fact, it is a very dull and boring stock. If you really take the FPO, which came at about 3 years back, since then, it has not really performed very well. They have the huge capex. And in fact, I think about a month back when the company announced that they will be going with a very big FPO, and that the chairman has, or maybe the CMD has said that they will be going in one go of 6,000 crore. I don't think that you have that kind of appetite really for the market, and if you have such a big equity dilution, I don't think that there is any kind of, and as such, if you really see the power space, have been passing through, whether you talk of the T&D, you talk of the generation, you talk of the capital goods makers, you talk of the financiers. So yes, things are not good even for power grid also. Technical up move may be seen, but I won't be, because as such power grid, if you really take the situation, 6-7 years back, it used to rule at 140, 150 when people have been taking a positive call. It has really been the very bad performer on the market, on the bourses in this last 5-6 years. Yeah.
Tahir, how should one approach some of these exporters in terms of portfolio calls? IT and pharma, the stocks that have rallied 40, 50, in certain cases 60%. Should you let them run, or is there a case for booking some of the profits here?
I think, if one has a positioning for on a horizon of, let's say, over the next 12-15 months, I think clearly one should allow them to be run further. There is, as of now, no case for, one to take profits, simply given the fact that, while we've seen a fairly decent rally, one has to understand that these, especially the tech sector, comes from a situation where it has been a fair degree of underperformer over the last couple of years. Valuations had also, come down to, in certain cases, perhaps even below market levels. So we are seeing the rallies from those levels, from those kind of valuations. We are today in a situation where the IT trends are probably looking a little more, better compared to what they were over the last couple of years. So clearly there is a business strength underlying this whole thing. I think while of course there's a leverage to the rupee, at the end of the day, a rupee is essentially not going to translate as much of the gains, and rupee would have not made as much of a difference had the underlying business trends not been so strong. So I would think that even if the rupee were to probably take a little bit of a breather here and maybe appreciate versus the dollar for a while, I think the export-oriented sectors would probably, especially tech, would make a lot of sense. There's a sector which could probably look like an FMCG. The way the FMCG sector looked, let's say, over the last couple of years. And second, of course, the fact that there is a fair degree of under ownership in this sector even today, and the benchmark weightages over the last, given the rally of the last couple of months, has actually gone up quite considerably, leading to the further disparity in the underweight of various portfolio managers.
Okay, gentlemen, stay on. We have to get into a break, but we'll come back and then it'll be time for the market wind up. But don't miss the rally in the markets. It's heading to a 300-point gain, and don't miss the rupee either. Once again, south of 66. Here are some thoughts from Ramesh Damani, who says that there is more pain in store for the markets going ahead, but at the moment the market's not listening.
We have a Fed tapering meet coming up, which is hugely important to the markets, a currency crisis in India, a conflict in Syria brewing. So September, October are going to be very, very interesting months. 5,500, 5,600 where the Nifty is trading right now, perhaps is the high water mark for a period of time. I think the previous range that was 5,500 to 6,000, the Nifty, has been broken. Market collapsed to 5,100, and now it's come back full steam ahead to the higher end of the range. I think the rupee has, shaken the confidence to its roots. I think the confidence that we used to have as Indians from 2000 onwards, that we were a tech power, that we could go out, the rupee carries a value, is all gone. And while everyone has assured us that there's no capital controls, and I do believe them, it certainly means that we should fight not with timidity as we are fighting, but with boldness, that, that India is a country that has a destiny, and that we need economic reform to push us ahead, not necessarily only populist policies. I started with a couple of ideas at the beginning of the year, and they haven't really worked out so far, but they still look okay to me. One, of course, is Tata Elxsi, which had a lot of losses due to its animation division, due to a bad foray in Japan. All that is now cleaned out, a part of the past. The company pays almost a dividend payout ratio of up to 60-70%. And I think growth is back. I think they can grow at 15-20% sustainable for the next few years. The other one that I bought has disappointed me in terms of the earnings and probably have another bad quarter. And in fact, they hedged until next year. But after that, they're in a sweet spot of product development called Geometric Software. So they're trading about 7 times earnings.